Hi, I'm Kuli Kaur-Wilson, Chief Strategy and Partnerships Officer and Deputy Chief Executive at Black Country Healthcare Foundation Trust. I think the word that I would use to describe the Recovery College is empowering, and that's because of the asset-based approach that the college takes in terms of really focusing on the strengths of an individual, building on those strengths to help kind of build their own personal control around their route to recovery. I think the Recovery College adds a lot of value to individuals, the community, as well as the trust itself. I think from an individual and community perspective, the value that the college adds in terms of well-being, supporting people on their kind of route to recovery. It supports in terms of people staying well, reducing the likelihood of people going into crisis and needing access to kind of more complex support, as well as the kind of role it plays for the population health as a whole, which supports our communities in terms of economic activity and employment as well, which we know is a really important kind of national agenda. I think in terms of the trust, the Recovery College supports the delivery of a number of our kind of strategic priorities, whether that's around our community first approach, increasing the quality of the inpatient offer, enhancing health equity across the Black Country, but really importantly, it also supports our delivery of our vision around Best for the Black Country. We've just launched our new values as part of that programme, and that includes the value of empowerment. And the Recovery College plays a really important role in this space in terms of supporting individuals to build the skills and knowledge to kind of build their own kind of personal health. I can imagine it's really daunting just taking that first step in terms of registering with the college or even finding out about what the college does. I think the best advice that I could share is probably to play back the feedback that we've had from students who've been there and who've been through the college, and the really positive impact that they have fed back it has on their life as a whole, the positive impact the Recovery College has had on building their self-esteem, on building their confidence, on helping them build connections. I think that's really important with their kind of family and loved ones and kind of wider community, and the really positive impact that the college has had in terms of supporting people really think about their own personal recovery goals and how they get there. The CHIME value that resonates most with me is hope, that optimism, that recovery is possible. I really value that emphasis on positive thinking and having aspiration. I think for myself, when I've had my own personal difficulties throughout my kind of life, positive thinking has really helped me in terms of being able to regain a sense of control and also being a source of comfort to help me kind of gain more clarity and take a more considered approach to think about how I move forward through those difficulties, and really importantly knowing that it will pass, that whilst it might be a challenging time at that point, that it is short term and that I will be able to move forward. I think there's probably two key areas of focus for me for the Recovery College as we move forward. I think the first element in terms of supporting people who are in secondary care mental health services, and I know this is a huge part of what the Recovery College already do. I think about 3/4 of students who access the Recovery College are already in contact with some of our mental health services. But this is a kind of an area that I know that will continue to grow and really focus and emphasise as we move forward. So whether that's in terms of working even closer with our inpatient services to support people kind of have lower lengths of stay, to support earlier discharge, whether that's in terms of supporting some of our community services with people who are waiting for mental health support, again providing that kind of early and proactive support to reduce the likelihood of them kind of going into crisis. And we know our students kind of give us that feedback themselves, that actually having access to the Recovery College during those times helps them to focus on their problems rather than avoid them, which kind of again helps with them not, problems not deteriorating. I think, again, the focus on support, extra support, working with our employment services, again, helping people to retain work by making sure that we're focusing on their emotional, mental health and well-being through that employment journey. And then the second element, I think, is around continued focus and kind of growing that element around early help, mental health promotion, and kind of building community resilience. I think there's probably more we can think about in terms of the work that we do with primary care, and particularly around new models of neighbourhood health, and as they develop, around the work that we can do really close to neighbourhoods at a local level to support people to think about mental health and well-being, and supporting our primary care colleagues in that space. I think our work with the voluntary sector will continue to grow, and particularly around building kind of community resilience and looking at kind of mental health stigma and mental health promotion in that space as well. I mean, I've spent time with the Recovery College and I've participated in some of the courses, and it's just, you know, wonderful and really powerful to see that the real impact and value that you can just see and feel that the impact and value it has for our students. But I guess one of the memories that I'd think back to is when the college was first developed 10 years ago, and it wasn't developed as a proper commissioned service, but it was something that was developed by Black Country Partnership as a trust itself, and that was really, that, you know, did pose challenges in terms of financial sustainability, because the trust was struggling in itself. However, what really kind of sticks with me is that the passion and the commitment of our kind of clinical and operational leaders at that time to really drive through the kind of importance of the Recovery College and the impact that this could have, and particularly as something that was quite, it was a trailblazer in terms of a kind of service offer for our communities that was not in line with the traditional model of care that we would have had in place at that time. So that kind of passion, that kind of real commitment that this was the right thing to do, even if it was, there were challenges and we were going to have to work through some of those obstacles, that commitment to kind of really sustain and continue to build that model until its value was recognised as a proper commissioned service really sticks with me. I think that, again, is really important now. I think we're kind of heading into kind of more challenging times as we are across the trust and the kind of health system as a whole. And I think, again, that's when these things become really important, that kind of passion and focusing on what's really important. And I think that really comes through in a lot of the work the Recovery College is doing, some of the commissioned services projects, that real connection to communities, and demonstrating the kind of impact that the Recovery College can have is really valuable. Wishing the Recovery College a very happy 10-year anniversary, and I look forward to the next 10 years to come.